Welcome back to Austin's Automotive. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. This week we're getting low, and boy am I excited about it. We're getting air ride put on our El Camino. Boy, it looks good. Let's get to it. Alright, super excited about this air ride. Something I haven't got into much in my life. I've just done some repair work over the shop's history for customers and stuff like that, but something that I've never had and something that I've never done a full kit on my own, something, you know, you're just ripping the suspension out and getting full air ride in. So I'm excited about doing that. I've done some helper bags on trucks and stuff like that, but never a full kit like this. So super excited. I feel like I'm making it super complicated for my first one. Totally trying to build it all myself here. Amazon makes it kind of a universal kit. Lots of people do. I went on Amazon, tried to build my own kit. So you guys tell me what I did wrong. If you guys know more than me, we'll find out by the end of the episode. Hopefully we'll have her working. So in my experience, the cheap air ride pumps, that's kind of been the biggest problem, is they're cheap. They just don't pump very fast. I've just never been impressed with them. So I kind of got the biggest portable air pump I could find. It's just like a made for air inflator, you know, for tires and stuff like that. It's made for, you know, it says it'll pump up a truck tire, a semi-truck tire. So if it'll pump up a truck tire, it should surely pump up these 4 little airbags. But anyhow, I was pretty impressed with the numbers on it, and it was pretty inexpensive, so that's what we're going to try to make work. We got some bump stops. I don't think we're going to need them. I think our factory ones are going to work just fine, but I picked them up. They were pretty inexpensive. We'll probably save them for the next project. Pressure switch, kick this bad boy on and off, and then we just got our fittings for our air lines. Maybe a mistake, we'll find out. You guys will find out with me, I'm sure. I'm going 1/4 inch airline. From what my understanding, you know, the bigger the airline, the faster stuff works. Smaller the airline, slower the things work. I kind of want this to go up and down nice and gentle, slowly. I don't want it to be real jerky or anything like that. I don't want it to be hopping, nothing like that. We are just going to have the front go straight up and down. We're not doing any side to side, nothing like that. Front's up, down, just simple. So got an air tank here for Viking horns. It was just cheap Amazon tank, 5 gallon. I think it'll work for us. We're gonna try to stuff that into the bed. We got 4 bags. Buy these in pairs. They were like 2,600 pounds. They were like 90 bucks for the pair of them. Can't complain about that price. Pretty inexpensive. So that's what we're going to try to use. Looks like they're going to work on all 4 corners. And we just got our fittings, you know, little stuff like that. As I said, I have done a couple truck kits. This is just some airbag brackets, some old ones that we pulled off. Saved them just because, you know, it's a good airbag plate. And hey, we're using it on this. The airbag mount's not quite the same, but we're gonna make it work because it's already halfway there. So then we just got, you know, our gauge for inside the car to see where our pressures are at, and then we've got our air switch here. You know, hopefully that'll allow us to go front, back, simple. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I did my own research, so hopefully we can get through this together and get her going. Let's get into it, guys. Let's do a quick walk around and show you guys what I did. So up front, I've just kind of yanked out everything. Got the inner wheel wells, coils out on all 4 corners, and then pulled the exhaust, what was left. But yeah, I know, just got everything out of the way so we could kind of see what we're working with. Everything's working out pretty good. We don't have any major modifications. It's kind of like this car was just begging for this. No major modifications. And right now we're sitting at ride height. And if we just take that on up to where we want to go, We're bottomed out there. Puts us down right on that bump stop. But as you can see, everything's fine. Sway bar is clear and fine. I've got it unhooked, but it does clear fine. Tie rod's clear fine. You can see we're gonna have tons of room in here for wheel clearance. No issues there. You can see on our front lip, even on our fender there, we're not gonna hit, you know, that's plenty good. So super excited about that both ways, you know, no issues. While we're up here, the cool thing is, what I'm really excited about is when it does set all the way down. I did have it down on the ground. The front cross member does clear by about 1/2 inch. So if we ever did have a catastrophic failure, you know, we could still limp her home or limp it somewhere, and it wasn't just, you know, throwing the frame into the asphalt, you know, and possibly an accident, or, you know, who knows. We don't want to ever encounter that situation, hopefully. But we're gonna get started in the rear. The rear is also the same. When we got her jacked up, we've just got miles of room in these wheel wells, which is awesome. And our drive shaft also has no issues, which is super cool. We've got lots of room up here for an airbag. Got the spring out. Just unhooked our factory shock. And believe it or not, with that fully compressed, that factory shock will work. It actually compresses further than our axle, so we won't be bottoming out our shock. So I've just got it off right now. It makes it easier to raise the rear suspension up and down, but yeah, that's super sweet. We're not gonna have to do anything to the rear. We can reuse these good shocks, factory mounting location. That's sweet. Everything back here is really gonna be factory other than our bag mount. So our bags, so our bag mount is going to be this guy here, and a little tough to do one-handed here. Sorry about that. We're gonna stuff that up in that pocket, and we're gonna trim this back plate off, and we're just gonna weld that. We're gonna weld that right here to this, and we're gonna have that come up and off. Then we're just gonna cut this top section out. That way we can get to our bolts, because I can get my fingers in here, so we can get to our bolts, and we'll be able to get to our airline, and that will knock off, you know, an inch and a quarter here, so we can get a little more room for our bag. And on the bottom, pretty simple. It's kind of got the same setup. It's got this flat plate here though. Works out really good. And we can just cut this cone off, and I'm just gonna put a stud there, bolt and stud, just to screw our bag on. So pretty simple setup. We just gotta do a little cutting. I did go ahead and pull our gas tank out because we're gonna be doing a little cutting and welding here. And I do wanna go ahead and clean up underneath of that and undercoat it and everything. And it's kind of funny, the gas gauge wasn't working, and I knew it was working when we got this car, and I wasn't for sure what was going on. And so yeah, our wire was hooked up. It's in nice shape. You know, sometimes those get corroded, or they even, you know, get chewed off up there. But yeah, no, followed the wire on up, and oh boom, yeah, there's the issue. It's not plugged in. Didn't realize that comes back with the taillight harness, and I've got the taillight harness unhooked right now. So yep, that's kind of funny. Easy fix there, so that should work once we get the taillights going again. But yeah, let's get going on this rear suspension. Let's get those bag mounts cut up and see if we can't get these rear bags mounted. Well, before we get into cutting that stuff up, I figured I'd show you guys my tools I'm using today. Sometimes I get some questions about that. So welder, I got the Millenmatic 211, 220. I really like this machine. It does quite a few different things. It'll stick, it'll MIG, it'll TIG. I like that machine quite a bit. I've got aluminum spool gun for it also, so I really use this machine quite a bit for heavier stuff. Then we've got the Lincoln square wave TIG. That's something I really haven't got into too much. I have tried doing some aluminum TIGging, and I know I'm garbage at that, so we'll try getting into that someday. Hopefully we can play with this a little bit more. But right now we're going to be using the Plaz, and that's a Hypertherm 45 XP, which I'm really happy with this Hypertherm. It's a really good machine, and if you guys need a plasma, look them up. I've had a couple different ones. I had a little Harbor Freighter one for a few years, and it worked pretty good. It was really sensitive to rust, you know, rusty metal. That was the only complaint I had about that one. This thing works pretty good for, you know, body shop stuff, frame stuff like what we're doing. Works really good. So, all right, let's get to it, guys. Just wanted to show you. Alright, so we got our plates modified. I just got a kind of a plate here on the bottom. I just knocked a hole in with the Plaz, that way we can weld that down to our rear end. And we're going to slide that up against our frame and weld her on both sides. Got the top slotted out. I kind of did her fast and loose with the Plaz. It'll work just fine. I know it's a little crude, but it's fine. This one turned out a little better. Yep, we're ready to put them in. Had to trim the sides out just a little bit so the airbags are clear, but I think we're ready to put them in. Under here, I just went ahead with our Plaz, went ahead and knocked out. Oh, let me grab one here. Went ahead and knocked that out of there. So it gains us an inch or so. Did the same thing on the bottom, got that one all cleaned up. So we're ready to start going together, seeing how this is going to work. So, got our bag. I think that's going to work really well, just like that. Our bolts fall right up in our hole here. I can feel our airline and our bolts, all that good stuff. So should be able to just raise our rear end back up, tack her in place there is what I'm thinking. So I don't think we need to make it any more complicated than it's got to be. I think Before I do that, I'll clean these frame rails up so I can get some good weld to it. Alright guys, this is our final verdict. We got them both in there, setting in, got our brackets. Pretty happy with everything. We can get down there to the head of that bolt. I'm just going to go ahead and weld it, I think. Just weld it to that plate, and then out here we can get a nice bead. And then when we pull these bags back out, we should be able to drop the rear end weld all the way around that. And then up here on this top, I think I can position that about like that. I should be able to get my head in there, my lead head, and I should be able to lay a pass down that. Actually ended up with more space than I thought. I got like 1.5 inches up here. So I got lots of room to get my hands up in here, get our air fittings. So I think I'm not hitting anything. I got good clearance. I don't know why that wouldn't work. I know that the bag just sitting naturally can compress just a hair over 3 inches, and from here fully compressed is 3 inches. So I know basically what I'm saying is I know I want to set our bag up just kind of relaxed like this, and it's going to compress far enough. It should work out. So let's go ahead and tack her in there and see how it works. That's the only way to get to it, just to do it. Making sure I got the bag kind of going up and down straight both ways. Got our level, kind of that way that bag's got the best line of travel, which I'm pretty happy with that right there. So give that just a little tack. I think that'll work. I can't jack it up because this bracket here's in the way. I'll have to pull that bag out and just plies that out real quick, but yeah, I don't know. It looks like it's gonna work. It's in there straight. I can get to the top. I don't know what else I need. Should be fine. All right, we got them all welded up. I'm pretty happy with everything. It'll undercoat just fine. Get the bags in, see how it works. All right, she's operational. I'm pretty happy with it. Looks good. It's working good. Bags are clearing good. Only issue, and I wouldn't say it's really an issue, only thing I kind of messed up on maybe is I set these bags up at right height so they were nice and square all the way around and fully compressed. I didn't really think of this, I didn't test it, but the bags did, bottom bag mount did jump forward, you know, 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/4, but not too big of a deal because I did set the bags up to where they had a little extra cushion. They weren't completely smashed, so I'm not too concerned about it. Like I say, they're not rubbing anything, so I think it'll be just fine. Like I say, when it's at right height, it's nice and square, everything's fine, so I think we'll be just fine. We do have to put a limiting strap on this because our bags are definitely not going to go our full suspension sweep. We've got way more suspension, but our shocks, as I told you guys, they worked out perfectly, so I just bolted them right back up. So we'll just put a limiting strap. I think we'll just come off of off this mount up here, off the old coil bucket, and I think we can just simply run a strap right around. And I actually have some old seat belts. I'm thinking, I don't know, I gotta do a little looking into that. I don't know why I couldn't put a seat belt there, and then that way if a guy ever wanted to drop the rear suspension down and just be something as simple as unbuckling it, I don't know, we might just bolt it too. But I do have some old seat belts, those would probably work. Yeah, so we got to do that. But anyhow, we'll run all this airline nice and neat. We'll get some limit straps on there. It's working, so I want to get the front caught up, so let's get it working. All right, so up front, we got quite a bit of room up here too. It's a little more difficult because we're in these A-arms, but yeah, it's whatever. We're gonna cut the bottom of that A-arm out, get that spring pocket out of there so we can get our bag in there the way we need. And then we're gonna set you guys down in here. We're gonna trim this lip off up here all the way around. That way we got a little more bag clearance. And we're gonna try to mount our bag similar to we did in the back. Just mount it up here off the back of the frame and kind of weld a bracket coming off the frame just like we did in the rear. And basically try to do it similar to what we did in the rear up here. It's gonna be a little harder to get to, but let's try to see what we can get done. All right, so you can see I jumped ahead a little bit. It's a little tough to show you guys this on film. Anyway, it's got that cut out up there. You can kind of see that. And then down here, I cut the center out. And as you can see, it's gotten to be a little bigger hole. But kind of want to show you guys while it's fully compressed. You can kind of see up in there. It's not touching the A-arm. It looks really close, and that's because it is. We got a couple 16ths gap, but we got gap, and I think that's as close as it's gonna get, so I'm pretty happy with that. So my plan is to probably pull this lower control arm off, and you know, we'll get this welded up nice. I want to get that bag out of there. Just wanted to see how it was gonna work out. Wanted to get it tacked in there. Yeah, no, that's how it is. Drop her down. The other good thing on the front, we do not have to run limiting straps like we got to on the back. Luckily the suspension doesn't have quite as much travel. So that's kind of the reason why I sunk that bag way up in there. Otherwise we were gonna end up with a limiting strap. But as you can see, we're coming down on that upper bump stop. And our bag is, hello. Our bag's still got some cushion to it, some tension release, so I think we'll be just fine. I'm pretty happy with that. On the top here, we just trimmed this off, and I actually pretty much just went flush. I thought I was gonna have to build, you know, a bracket coming off the side of the frame, and I was making it a little difficult, so I just went ahead and just flat plated it. And as you can see on the bottom, I just kind of put a jack in here with a wood block. Actually, that's how I did her. And I kind of set my bag height with another jack. I had both jacks going here. And that's how I set her up. Worked out pretty good. So I'll try to show you guys a little more on the next side, but we got this side going. We just need to bust her apart and finish weld. All right, on top, I just cut that shock hole out bigger. I enlarged it about as big as I could. But you can see in there, it's big enough. You can see our air fitting down in there and our couple bolts. We got a little bit of adjustment. I did just make that all out with the plasma cutter. So yeah, I know it's probably a little crude, but you know what, it works, and it's gonna do the job, so I'm happy with it. But yeah, saved a pile of money, did it myself, so it's just some scrap metal we had laying around. So bust this side apart, start on that side, and we'll have all four corners done. Then we can just plumb her up. All right, a couple minutes later, luckily the bolts come out. Usually them bolts will stick in there real good, but we got her out. So you can see, we'll just cut that out, weld that down to it. We'll make her look pretty. And with that off, we can get right up here to our plate. So you can see, you just gotta clean that up a little bit. Yeah, it don't look too bad, you know, for plows. I ground it all up, but yeah, we'll weld that all the way around. And yeah, should be good. All right, here's the lower finished product. I just kind of sliced all the way around, just kind of pie cut it, then I just folded everything down to our plate. Worked out pretty good. Just welded everything up, kind of double welded everything. It's probably not the prettiest, but it's blue, it's hot, it's burning good, it's gonna be strong. That's what I care about. So a little undercoating and it'll probably look perfect. Backside is kind of ugly, but everywhere where I pie cut it, I just kind of welded up my pie cuts. You know, I did on both sides. And I just kind of welded in my plate. Again, time you get the airbag in there, you don't see this, and well, it's just fine, strong. So let's move on to the top. Okay, so I got the top and the bottom all undercoated, put back in. Top, I welded her up. I got her, I don't know, I'd say 3/4 of the way welded on both sides. You can see I got a little gap on both sides. I didn't figure it was too necessary to get that all welded in. It's 1/4 inch there, and I got a lot of weld on there, so pretty happy with it. I put a little seam seal, a little undercoat on. It really cleaned things up. The control arm looks a lot better, and yeah, happy with it. So that'll work. Gonna keep putting it together. Just wanted to show you guys where I got the bag in there. It's kind of tough to see it after you get the bag in. Alright, we're on to the other side. So I did take a quick pattern of the top plate. So we do got that to work with. So hopefully we should just be able to transfer that back, plaza it out, put it on. I didn't do the bottom. It was just a touch too small, so I do plan on making this one a little bit bigger. So let's plaza this one out. And this is 1/4 inch also. right, you can see you got the bag in there, got the bottom tacked in, tops tacked in. It's a little tough to have you guys and 2 jacks and all that good stuff up in here. But you can see, maybe you can't, but it's clearing. We've got space all the way around. It's pretty tight on one side like it is on the other side, but you know, it's working. So how I did this is I set the suspension up completely compressed, runner bump stops everywhere. So the front end is bottomed out, and then I took another jack. I think I showed you guys on this the other side, but I took another jacked this up, and I got it to where it was completely compressed, and I let her back down just about 1/4 of an inch or so, just enough so our bag wasn't completely smashed with our suspension, just to give it just a little bit of cushion. But anyways, that's how I kind of set her up, and then I just kind of felt around in there, made sure I had good clearances before I tacked it. Just kind of wanted to see a gap all the way around through there, because with air it's going to puff up a little bit, obviously, when we drop it down with no air, but there still could be some, I don't know. I just wanted to have a little clearance. So anyways, I'm pretty happy with it. It's working pretty good, so we're just going to break her apart, undercoat, seam seal, all that good stuff like we did before on the other side, and this side's pretty well done. Really, that completes our airbags pretty much. Pretty happy with that. The only thing we got to do up front here is front shocks, and I'll bring you guys back after I get this side caught up. We'll do some front shocks, and then we just got to plumb it. So we're cruising along pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. All right, that side's welded. Seam seal, undercoat. I also did throw new motor mounts in it while you got the control arms. The bolts are in there. Kind of difficult to get to. Control arms off, really easy to get to. So, and they were like $5 a piece, I think we found them on Amazon for. So, no brainer not to do it. So, on to the lower. well, that's cooling down. We're gonna work on getting the shock mount made. So I'm gonna reuse the original shocks. They were new when we kind of went through this thing, so I'm just gonna keep them. They'll be just fine. I got room for them. I'm just gonna make a couple mounts out of some angle iron. Looks like I don't know, 1 1/4 inch, 1.5 inches by 1/4. So should be just fine. Alright, well, we're on to the shocks. So I plased out a couple pieces of angle and just notched her out there. Pretty simple. I'm gonna probably weld them nuts on the bottom once we get her all done. On top, I just blew a hole and just kind of guesstimated about a 6-inch piece. That way we can kind of, my plan is to kind of get you guys down in here, is to kind of hook that angle iron right up on the back side of that control arm, and then run this over and run another piece down to the side of her frame. You can kind of see we're hanging over the top of her frame, and I'll come straight down and hook on right there to the side of our frame. So it's kind of the plan. As you can see, we got enough room back here. That's the wheel all the way locked. So we got room back in there, so that's where we're gonna stuff these guys. Hopefully we don't have to cut too much of the inner wheel well out to put these in, but it is what it is. We gotta have shocks. So that's the plan. I don't know if I'll be able to get you guys in here, but this is what we're doing. All right, got a quick shock mount made. Kind of embarrassed to tell you how long it took me. Especially for as simple as that is, but I overcomplicated the heck out of it. Hopefully I'll bring you guys along with the next one. We can do it a little quicker. I'm gonna weld this one up, clean it up. All right, we got front shocks. So that one's on, kind of welded up, finished. Happy with it. And as you can see, it's clearing. Everything's working just fine. This side I've just got tacked. That's kind of how it lands up. We got clearance between the caliper, we got clearance on our brake line, we got clearance on our tire. So yeah, pretty happy. Luckily the shocks have just about as much stroke as the suspension. So I'm setting the suspension full droop and the shocks full droop, and that seems to be working out pretty good. Yeah, I think it's gonna work out just fine. So I'm gonna bust this side apart, finish weld it. We'll have front shocks. All right, I wanted to check the wheel well and made sure it fit. It does. We got this side finish welded, the other side fits just as good. I'm happy. Let's get these things undercoated up, cleaned up, and I'd say the front is done. We're ready to plumb. So that's pretty exciting. Both sides fit. Not too bad for a bunch of scrap iron, you know, just scrap angle iron, scrap 1/4 inch plate. We got an air ride system. All right, we're back on the ground. I forgot to show you guys underneath while I was under there, but I did get the air lines run. Pretty simple. I just zip stripped them to the frame, out of the way of everything. The only thing I did do that was kind of tricky, I'll show you guys here. I put some heat shrink over these air lines anywhere where I was concerned that they might rub or anything like that. I don't want any punctures. But on my first one here, just kind of wanted to show you guys, I got her a little warm there. I was trying to shrink that wrap up all the way. So if you ever do this, you got to be super careful. And I didn't worry about getting the shrink wrap all the way down. It does give you a little extra protection though. You could use some tape or something also, but I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm happy. The shocks are working. I don't think I had this on the ground for you guys before, but yeah, it just barely clears. Just super awesome. If we had a catastrophic failure, that'd be cool not to be completely on the ground. So pretty excited. Let's see it work. Alright, well, going up and down. It's taken us all week to get this far, but you know what? I'm happy we got her all mounted up, got all 4 bags done. Anyways, it took us about a day per bag to do these. To be quite honest, you know, just with the messing around and stuff, the front end took a little bit longer than the back. And then we got a day of just messing around with, you know, the fittings and the air lines and getting everything run. And it feels like I've had that front end apart a dozen times and put back together. And you know, whatever, I got excuses. We didn't get her done all the way this week. So that just means you guys are gonna have to come back and see me next week. And we'll get the air ride, the air tank, get all that finished up. I'm not for sure what else we got going on. You know, we need to get under the interior. Yeah, we're just taking her one step at a time, guys, but really appreciate everybody watching. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and let me know what you guys think. I'm stoked. I think it looks sweet. Pretty excited for my first air ride, so thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.